Hi. Well, it is time to do a final activity for your skills defined. And so this should not take too long, but always like to have something that you might be able to come away with. So have a pencil, paper, or open a blank document and start thinking about this. But something to help provide some structure and framework to building your skills. So as you're thinking about your skills, this is going to be a bridge here into building the better bullet point. So I'm just going to give you a couple scenarios where we can work through different skills and find the action verb and decide whether it's transferable or non-transferable. Okay, so let's think about just a scenario here. First scenario is, I think I talked about it being in an ice cream shop before, but maybe I'll talk about managing a team. And so let's talk about the skill teamwork. That's one big skill that comes up a lot in employers wanting to make sure that people are able to work in different teams and be inclusive and all that great stuff. So let's say you have a situation where you were managing a team and you went through a process that allowed consensus for all of the teams. So just everybody agreeing on that action item so that you all can go forth and accomplish that action. So there's a lot that might be involved there, but the first thing that comes to mind is, when you're thinking about building consensus for something or you're thinking about accomplishing a task in a team, is just finding delegation. So let's say you built consensus in a team and everybody agrees on the way that you're going to move forward in a situation, and it turns out you delegated the actions out. And without going into too much detail, because we'll do that in the next module, you and your team accomplish this goal. So our skill is, what are we good at, right? So I tell you that whole scenario to say the thing that helped you be good at it was the delegation, right? So our skill is going to be delegation in this situation. If, let's say, the process of building consensus is your skill, that was the piece that really showed the results and the positive results, maybe that's going to be the skill. If the skill is possibly teamwork, right? Is I've seen that skill quite a bit. Like I said in the beginning, employers are looking for that. But how did that teamwork play out, right? So through delegation, through teamwork, through working together to build a task, and be accomplishing a task. So the action verb is actually delegate, right? So here I'm kind of pulling these action verbs nicely in. So the action verb would be delegation. All right, and then is this a transferable or non-transferable skill? And the answer is transferable. Hopefully you were able to, if you can delegate in one space, you can take that and apply it to another space and kind of work through that in that other space. Oh, transferable. Let's get that right. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about flexibility. So let's say you've been working and your supervisor comes in and says, I need you to get this project done super fast and I need you to do it now. So let's say you've been working on a project and your boss comes in, interrupts you and says, it's time. You've got to work on this now. This needs to become the top priority. So were you flexible, or were you not flexible? So really the skill here is flexibility. Is this something, depending on how you react to the situation, you might have a strength in flexibility. So your skill is flexibility. But the action verb is, what happened in order for you to be flexible, right? And so that's going to be, I would say, and this is just me pulling out random scenarios, you need to think about your own situations and what happened. But for me, I would say in this situation, I would look at the task I'm doing and I would prioritize. So my action verb Prioritize. Did I mention I'm not the greatest speller? Okay. So action verb would be prioritize, because what I would need to do in order to be flexible is I would look at the task that I'm working on, and then I would look at this new task and decide in what amount of time would I take to, accomplish this new task, and how can I put this other task on the back burner? Can I put it on the back burner, or am I here to, try to find flexibility in my schedule and figure out how to accomplish this task, this new task? So prioritize, and is this a transferable or non-transferable skill? And this would be a transferable skill. All right, we're going to do an example for a non-transferable skill. So let's say you were working at an organization and they sent you to a course in Excel. So learning how to use spreadsheets. So the skill is actually, utilizing Excel spreadsheets, right? This is what you're good at. This is what you want them to know you're good at. So the action verb is really, what is this? How did you use that skill in a scenario, right? So let's say we're kind of working backwards here, right? Like, I know I have this skill, I know I'm good at it, but I need to find a story, or what is a good experience where I used it and was successful. And so the action verb here could be utilized, right? Utilized Excel in blank, and you can see we're kind of bridging into building that bullet point, because this action verb would really start our bullet point. It could be that you analyzed data using Excel. Right? So this skill could be the how you did something, which again, we're going to talk about in building better bullet points, and so on and so forth. So again, depending on what you did with that skill will be the action verb. And then, is this transferable or not transferable? And I mentioned I wanted to make sure that we used a non-transferable example. So remembering that in the non-transferable example, you may use this skill in one organization to accomplish their goals, and you may have learned it a certain way. And this is a skill that you can move to another organization, but the question is will you have to relearn the ways of the new organization and how to use this skill? And the answer is most of the time, yes. Sometimes no. Sometimes they'll say, do what you do. But a lot of times there are systems in place and processes in place, procedures in place, best practices in place that work for that organization that you will then have to use to transfer. And then you're not able to transfer, say, all the knowledge you had. You are able to transfer the skill of using Excel, but you will have to relearn some things, right? And so that's why it's more of a non-transferable skill. So with that is your final activity. Feel free to do this for anything, if you're really worried or wondering about your skills and how to kind of start building those